Well, hello everybody and welcome. It's Scarlet Pete's Self-Sufficiency, and today I'm going to do something really good and clever. Well, I think so anyhow. I'm going to show you how to dehydrate and then powder your vegetables and excess things you can find in the supermarket at the moment that are really cheap. I'll go yellow sticker shopping. Let's have a look. This one's got a yellow sticker on it. This was a punnet of tomatoes. I think it was 10 pence. Then we have punnets of mushrooms. Now this one's a bit older, and you can see as it gets older it naturally dehydrates. So I'm going to show you how I make the most of these vegetables that I can pick up, mountains and mountains of them in Tesco's and other shops like that, or my own glut that I would pick at home, and they're cheap. You know, they've got a very short shelf life left on them, so the best way to make the most of them is dehydrate them, powder them and use them when you want. Let me show you the dehydrator I've rigged up at my mum's, because I'm not at home at the moment, so I've done something a bit different at mum's. Do you like the space blanket? Right, what this is a heated clothes dryer against a radiator with a space blanket over the top. So we're going to peel back. Now then, when these are in the very early days of dehydration, you do not want there to be no airflow. If you left this covered up, all the water you're dehydrating off the vegetables would be on the top of this blanket underneath and then drip straight back down. So you've got to have airflow. But imagine we've got something stood up there and there, or a little dome in the middle of the space blanket like that, so it can breathe. Isn't that a gorgeous dehydrator? What did we do? Well, there's a little bit of a variety here. I'd got a load of tomatoes. So what I did with the tomatoes was put them through my food blender. Then I put them in the saucepan and cooked them. Then I put them in a sieve and dripped them overnight, so we had water underneath and a good puree left in the sieve. Then I tipped it out on here to go and dry. Mushrooms. Look at this. You see how dry that is? Let's have another look. Look at that. All I did was clean the mushrooms, slice them, lay them out on the dehydrating sheet here, which they weren't all together like this. They were all spaced nicely apart, like that. Looks not touching each other on the material there, which is a brown paper, greaseproof paper, and left to dry. Can you see what it is yet? This was a huge bunch of celery. So I sliced it up. Now that had a lot more water content, so that took a bit longer to dry. I had an orange for breakfast the other day, so I thought I'll put that in. I'll slice them off. Look at that, that's lovely and crunchy. That's ready to use. So I think you get the gist of things. We've got the heated dryer against a radiator, the paper laid out to put the slices on. They mustn't touch each other. Then you just leave them till they go crispy, crunchy dry. You could store them in jars just like that, but what I'm going to do is make powders. First of all, I'm going to make the powders separately, and then when I've got enough of different vegetables, I'm going to blend them into cooking stock cubes. I'm going to make them into soup mixes or powders that I'd use for seasoning. But first of all, let's show you what I'm going to do with these mushrooms. On the back of the radiator here, I've got all the parts that I'm going to use to store or powder up, the machinery for powdering up, all there freshly washed and dried. We need that all to come out bone dry. I've got them put ready to blend. I've just bought this off the internet. It's a NutriBullet. Cost quite a bit of money new, but I got it off Marketplace for £10. So I'm quite chuffed with that. I'm going to put the mushrooms to go first. So I need to put the lid on the top. There we are. And let's see how this blends up. Wow, that's quick. Now we can store it in plastic containers, we can store it in jam jars. At the minute, because I'm at my mum's, I haven't got too many jam jars, so I'm going to put it in this plastic container for a couple of days till I get hold of some more jam jars. from mushroom to powder. Look at that, that's amazing. I've just put in now the small amount of celery I've got, and I'm going to blend that. Look at that, celery powder. The smell of that is so intense and amazing. Now, this is the one I'm excited about, is the tomato, because what I'm wanting to do is dehydrate loads of tomatoes, make loads of puree and lots of powder, so then when I want some, I can rehydrate it. Let's get that going. Oh, look at that. Doesn't that look lovely? I am so pleased with that. There we have our lovely tomato powder. We've got celery and we've got mushrooms. Now these are starting to be the basics of my stock cubes that I'll be making in a later video, all courtesy of my NutriBullet that I got cheap, as I said. Now then, you can add into these salts if you want, and you can add into them a teaspoon of corn flour and whiz it up again, and that will be like an anti-caking stuff, but I'm okay with it like this. What you're going to do next is put the lid on, put it in a dry, dark place to preserve the colours. But just imagine the possibilities: paprika, chili powder, carrots, cabbage, onions, all sorts of things to go in as amazing stock cubes, and meat rubs and powders that you can create, and even soup. To rehydrate, just put a spoonful and add some water. Look what we have. Fantastic tomato paste for putting onto meats, onto pizza bases, onto breads, whatever you want. Imagine the possibilities. So I'd like to say thank you to my wonderful dehydrator I made with a space blanket. Just under here we've got the clothes dryer, as you can see, and the radiator. That's it. And look how much more space we've got there for even more dehydrating. Apple slices, carrots, all those are wonderful things. So thanks everyone for watching. Please like, subscribe and share, and give me a comment so I know you're there. And you know what? Watch this space. You're going to like what's coming next. It's going to be a mixture of crafting and knitting and self-sufficiency and recipes, but I'm sure you'll like it. Bye-bye.